Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry back again. Hey, here's a question for you for an intro. In the One Piece live action adaptation, now I know this would be years and years from now, okay? If season 1 is just going to be the East Blue, we're not going to get into Wano until like season 10 or whatever, okay? But assuming everything goes amazing and like the first season is just incredible, and then second season, third season, we do Alabasta, Enies Lobby, Impel Down, Marineford, Time Skip, it just keeps going and going. Which actor, I guess as they are now, because this would be in the far-off future, but which actor would you prefer play Kaido? There's a discussion for you right there. All right. So yes, today's video, we're going to be talking about One Piece chapter 1050! 1050 berry! 1050 berries. That's a lot of berries, but not a tremendous amount. I mean, 1050 berries, I don't think that would fill a pickup truck or anything, but that's a lot of berries, okay? I guess it depends what kind of berries as well. So, yes, spoiler alert for everything involving the chapter. We're going to be getting into a lot of science in this one, so put on your thinking caps because, yeah, this is going to be fun. Put on your thinking caps to comment because I don't know that much about science, so some of you guys are going to have to pick up the slack here, okay? So, in the last chapter, it was rather explosive, if I was going to use a word to describe it, in more ways than one. So Luffy punches out Kaido. Nekomamushi announces to all of Onigashima, like, we did it, we won! Everybody's happy, everybody's cheering. Chopper begins to heal the injured, patch up Luffy. Zoro's not opening his eyes. Kinemon and Okiku are very grievously wounded. How's that going to happen, right? Well, while all this is going on, Big Mom and Kaido end up in a magma pool underneath Wano. And let's talk about that for a moment. This video is going to be, I guess, in general, like, just about stuff after the chapter. Is Kaido truly beaten? That kind of stuff. Or rather, how could they return? How could Big Mom and Kaido return from their magma prison? But we got to address a few things first before we even continue. Okay, first and foremost, and this was a few comments I got on the review. This was great. I didn't even consider this, but here's one of the comments right here. People do not realize that magma is a liquid, right? So devil fruit users paralyzed in liquid. So are Kaido and Big Mom, they're just done, right? They're just gonna die down there because they can't move because magma is liquid, right? Right? And I'm like, holy crap, I didn't even consider that. Okay, so now, though, we get to some very interesting questions regarding devil fruit weaknesses. So this is really exciting. So let's kick the video off with this. Okay, so it was already explained that by Oda in an SBS that any type of liquid will zap a devil fruit user of their strength, okay? So it doesn't just have to be, seawater or salt water, okay? So let's just clear that up right now. I've mentioned this several times, but it just seems like every once in a while, people forget, or, people that are new to One Piece, they don't really understand. It's okay. But no, it isn't just the ocean water or salt water. It can be fresh water. It can be orange juice. It can be soy sauce. It doesn't matter as long as it's a liquid. If a devil fruit user, like if it goes up to like their waist or higher, they begin to feel weakened, and if it covers their entire body, they're pretty much rendered immobilized, okay? Regardless of the liquid, doesn't matter. But that brings up an interesting question that I don't think I've ever actually tackled before. What about something that isn't strictly a liquid? As we define a liquid, what if something has a little bit more viscosity, I guess is the term, viscosity. That's a fun word to use. Yeah, so like what example would be like motor oil, for example. Okay, so motor oil, it's not a solid, but it's also not a liquid in the same way that water is a liquid, right? If you pour motor oil out, or any kind of oil, like cooking oil, like grapeseed oil, or whatever, like the oil, it's oil, right? It's actually non-soluble in water. It'll actually float on top of the water. So it's like, okay, what happens if a devil fruit user, like, I don't know, Brook, for instance, what happens if Brook was dipped in a giant vat of oil? Sorry, Brook, for this example. It's like, wait, why am I the one that has to be? Hold on. It's like, wait a second, Tekking. Let's talk about this. There's all these devil fruit users in One Piece. Like, you could have used any of the enemies, any of the villains. You could have used Rob Lucci. You could have used Crocodile. Any of the you could have used Foxy, for God's sake. Why do I have to be the one to be dipped in motor oil? It's like, I'm sorry, Brook, but we're going ahead with it. Okay. So if Brook was dipped in motor oil, would he just cease to function? Would he become immobilized? Okay, so that's one question, which is oil. What about something like a metal? A metal, because some metals exist in like a liquid state or a close to liquid state, but once again, it's not as liquid as like water is, like mercury, for example. Okay, mercury is like liquid metal, but it doesn't like flow like water does, right? It actually has this weird kind of thing where it actually like glops together. Glops together. These are scientific terms I'm using. This is why anybody out there with a science degree, this is your time to shine. What else? Oh, what about glue? What about like glue or like that slime shit that you make out of glue? You can add like glitter to it and whatever, right? That was like really big a few years ago. I remember when I was working at Dollar Tree and that the slime craze was going on. All these like soccer moms were coming into Dollar Tree buying giant amounts of glue to make slime with their kids. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, ma'am, we don't have any glue. And just like, I want to speak to your manager. And I'm like, oh my God, that was a dark time to work in retail, let me tell you. But it's all, if you dipped Brooke in a giant vat of Elmer's glue, it's like, why? Then would he be immobilized? Okay, and then so that brings up the question regarding magma. So I was starting to look into like, okay, is magma and lava like? Is it like a liquid? Does it flow like a liquid? Because I look at images like this of a giant glob of magma, or I guess it would be lava if it's above the surface, moving down the side of a mountain. Kind of looks like a Pokemon, to be honest with you. Hold on, let me just put like there you go. It's a Pokemon. Actually, wait. So this is option 1. This is option 2. And option 3, which one is your favorite for the magma ball Pokemon or whatever? But yeah, this doesn't look like a liquid in the same way that like orange juice or cola or water is a liquid, right? So if you dipped Brooke in a giant magma pool or caldera, as Kaido and Big Mom are right now, would that immobilize them? So I looked that up, and, you know, okay, so magma is basically made out of parts of, like, the Earth's crust, and so there's, like, different, like, metals and stuff in there that are just melted at super high heat, so they turns into a liquid. But actually, the ancient Greek word for magma is thick unguent, okay? That's what it means, thick unguent, which, I'm sorry, Murphy, but it sounds a lot like undulant, so undulate, there you go. But, yeah, so I don't think it's the same as water is what I'm referring to here. Not like every other, let me put it this way. In the way of One Piece that every other liquid has affected Devil Fruit users that we've seen over the years, you know, just like fresh water, seawater, even the water that exists in the clouds, you know, even in the White Sea, the water still affects Devil Fruit users the same way. We've never actually seen a Devil Fruit user get dipped in magma because it's magma. Typically speaking, if a character were to be dipped in magma, they would probably die, like, immediately, so it's like, let's throw this Devil Fruit user in a pool of magma, see if they can swim, and it's like, oh my God, and then they would just, like, light on fire and die before you would even get an answer to that, right? But that's with normal people, or like normal Devil Fruit users, okay? And whatever words you can use to describe Big Mom and Kaido, of which there are many, normal is not one of them, okay? They are beefy, they are tough, right? Big Mom has been described as an iron balloon before. Kaido is, of course, really powerful for all the reasons we just saw, a 50-chapter battle, you know, just to bring him down, right? So, there's one scene in the manga that I overlooked an onomatopoeia, and that's a big mistake in One Piece, okay? If you're just getting into One Piece, if you're getting ready to start a One Piece reviewing channel, much like me and a lot of other of my contemporaries out there, let me just tell you a piece of advice right away. Don't ignore onomatopoeias, okay? Learn all of Oda's puns, because he loves puns, and pay attention to onomatopoeias, okay? Because they are very, very useful in One Piece, right? So, the onomatopoeia that shows up when we see the scene at the end of the chapter where we have underground magma pool, and then we just see the silhouettes of Kaido and Big Mom in the magma. We don't actually see their facial expressions or what they're doing. They're not really moving. It doesn't seem like they are. And we just see the onomatopoeia for okay? So it kind of sounds, honestly, like they're dissolving in the magma. But I guess it could also refer to, like, their clothing, right? Because you'd imagine that would be the first thing to dissolve in the magma. So maybe it's just Kaido getting knocked in there, and then maybe that's maybe, did he get knocked in with his Kanabo? Maybe his Kanabo is, like dissolving. But there's, like, a sizzle, like a sound effect going on in the background. So that seems to imply that they are currently dissolving. So, I said it as a joke, and there was a lot of other people that were commenting like, Kaido and Big Mom are going to emerge from the ground as like half dissolved like magma zombies or something. That was obviously a joke, at least I assumed it was, but how terrifying would it be for Big Mom to climb out of the hole, half of her face melted off, you could see bones, and then she's like, mama, mama, like she is a magma zombie. Big Mom can now make a lava/lava golem homie with her abilities. So let's not overlook that for a moment, because that's how Big Mom has gotten out of most, tough situations before. When Kid turned into a giant mechanical metal bowl and rammed into Big Mom and then, broke her arm at like 90-degree angles or whatever, all she did was like take some extra soul power, throw it in there, and then turned her bones into homies, and then she was able to like be revitalized and even stronger than before. And remember, that's also what happened at Elbaf, when the entire village was set ablaze, right? And then all of a sudden Mother Caramel came out and she's like, oh my god, the entire town's on fire. I'm gonna stop this. And then she turned all of the flames into a homie, which was Pandora, okay? Stopping all the fire right there. So that's how Big Mom has dealt with a lot of situations, and I can't imagine why it wouldn't work here, unless the predetermined explained situation of like they can't move because they're in lava. But remember, that just means that they can't move. It doesn't mean they can't use their devil fruit abilities, okay? Well, at least to a limited extent. And you have to remember, like, it depends on how strong the individual is, because really powerful characters can stay conscious under the water. Like Jack was able to stay conscious even after getting knocked under the water, and he was a fishman, so he was able to breathe. He just couldn't move. He also could not turn into a mammoth while he was underwater. Maybe he didn't do that because there'd be no point, or maybe he like literally could not. But when Luffy was under the water at Arlong Park, Nojiko was still able to stretch his neck, but it was somebody else doing it for her, okay? So I'm going to assume if they are trapped in the magma, like they could just be unconscious, like maybe the magma does not count as a liquid, maybe in the same way that like Jello, for instance. Okay, so what if Brooke was dipped in Jello? That's like a semi-solid, but there's water in there. So would that affect anything? I don't know. This is where we get to start like there's splitting hairs here. Like, okay, where does the exact magic number or magic amount of viscosity start to actually affect devil fruit users in a negative way? So if you get dipped in oil and that doesn't work, but dipped in water does work, then there has to be a magic in-between amount of viscosity where finally your devil fruit powers start to weaken, okay? So if magma does not count, Big Mom and Kaido could just be knocked unconscious from their individual battles, and then Big Mom could be just waking up in the magma pool like, it's kind of nice here, like a sauna. Wait a second. It's a little bit too hot. Mama, 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 mama. And she starts freaking out, and then she uses her soul power to, like, swirl the lava around her to turn it into, like, a lava golem, like, from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever. And then Kaido and Big Mom, like, is like, take us in your mighty lava arms. It's like, yes, mama. And then, busts out of the top of Wano, out of Mount Fuji or whatever, and then you have a giant magma golem, barreling down the mountain as, a half-dissolved Big Mom or Kaido are in its arms. That sounds badass. Okay, Act 3's over. Now for Act 4. Here we go. Here we go, dudes. Here we go. So, yeah, I don't know if that'll go down. But yeah, so that's a question there. Like, is the lava, like, weakening them? Could Big Mom turn the lava into a homie to allow them to escape? Or are they just straight up dissolving? Because once again, I'll say it, like, taking out Yonkos is a big deal in One Piece. Oda cannot just, write that off as just like, yeah, you have the Yonko, which I have established are like the strongest pirates in the entire ocean of all of the Grand Line. The Yonko together as a force represent one of the three great powers on par with the Marines themselves. That's a big deal. So they're not just going to be taken out after a few punches or whatever. But I'll tell you what, Big Mom dealing with this massive fight with everybody, Kid and Law getting thrown down a hole, getting a nuke dropped on her, and then getting dropped into a magma caldera alongside Kaido, who just had this massive fight with all these different people, just, raining blows down on Kaido, and then Luffy awakening into a monkey god, and then punching him super far down into the dirt, into also the magma pool, and then melting him that way. Like, if there's any, like, more badass way to take out a Yonko, I really can't think of one. There was also another comment this actually made me think. This was funny. Just imagine those two really died because of the magma. That would mean 3 out of 4 of the original Yonko died because of magma. Because Whitebeard also, well, Whitebeard, the final shot for Whitebeard was Blackbeard's crew just like unloading, bullets and like stabbing him with spears and stuff. That was the thing that finally had, Whitebeard down, and that's what killed him. But you also got to remember he took like a direct hit from Akainu in the chest, like a giant magma hole in his chest, and half of his face was burned clean off. So I'm imagining Akainu did the majority of the damage there. And since we're talking about lava and magma, of course we got to talk about, Akainu, of course, Sakazuki. So it was mentioned before in a Viva card that, I don't know if it was clarified as, like, Akainu has the strongest Devil Fruit in the entire world, or, like, the strongest Logia, but I think it was stated, like, it was in the highest, like, class of power, because the way Oda described it is, it's the power of magma, and magma, at least in Oda's world, pretty much has the power to destroy everything and anything, okay? It has, like, the highest tier of that destructive power. So, I forgot that when I was reviewing it, but I'm like, wait a second, holy shit, I just realized, okay, Oda kind of said, like, magma can pretty much destroy anything, and that's what he used to take down Whitebeard, or did the majority of the damage that took down Whitebeard, and now Kaido and Big Mom are faced with that same threat. Even more so, actually, because, yeah, while Sakazuki is incredibly proficient at using the Magu Magu no Mi and everything, this is a different level. Like, this is the raw magma of the earth. This isn't just like Akainu summoning the magma and throwing it. They are in a giant pool, like a mile or so under the earth in this magma pool, okay? And they're getting pelted with it from all sides and getting roasted, okay? So I would say that would be even worse. So, if there was a moment where, like, the Yonko were gonna die, because I've had questions about this, like, if Big Mom and Kaido do not die in this arc, then, are they gonna reappear during, the final Throne Wars? Like, would that make sense, like, thematically, for them to come back after this epic battle? Or would it make sense for them just to die here? And now that they're in that lava pool, I'm thinking this is like the one mechanism in One Piece that I think could do it, and it was already established that it could do it, you know what I mean? There was also a comment that I replied to yesterday. I was actually at a wedding, and I was like sitting in my car waiting for the reception to start, and I was like replying to this comment in my car, but it was a very interesting point. Somebody brought up, is like, hey, what about Kaido if he does survive this? What's stopping Kaido from just coming back to Wano and just conquering it again, right? Like, let's say Kaido survives, he's not dead, and, Luffy and the Straw Hats and the Heart Pirates and the Kid Pirates and all the really strong pirates that help, they all leave Wano to continue their adventure. Many of the samurai are still very beaten and wounded, so couldn't Kaido just take over Wano again? What about that? And I replied, and I basically said, like, well, he could. I mean, he could attempt it if he was still alive after this, but you also got to consider all of the damage that Kaido suffered, not just himself, but also his crew. The Tobiropo are severely damaged, as well as the All-Stars. Even if none of them are dead, well, Drake defected, but even if none of them are dead, they would still be very grievously wounded to the point where, like, they're not going to be ready just to, get back up and fight all over again. A bunch of the waiters and pleasures got annihilated. The Smiles, which was, like, one of the big, driving forces in Kaido's crew, all of the Smile users, all of the gifters are now working for Otama, and there's no more Smiles in production because Doflamingo and Caesar got taken out, so no more Smile Fruits, no more artificial zones, so they're gone. Also, Onigashima, the base of Kaido's operation, has been literally lifted up and landed in a separate location. His entire mansion is in shambles. It's destroyed, right? And even more so than all of that, I said in this comment, even more than Kaido's physical damage, even more so than his mansion and Onigashima being wrecked and trashed, even more so than, like, the strongest members of his crew being, like, severely injured, even more so than all that, his reputation has been wounded beyond reproach now. Kaido of the Beast, he was the man that had the highest bounty out of any pirate still alive. Okay, he was this unstoppable, immovable force. Many people in the world probably looked to Kaido as an invincible dragon god. At least the people of Wano certainly did, right? And now he's not that anymore. He's not the invincible dragon god. It isn't just like he himself got defeated. His entire operation got completely smashed by Luffy and the samurai and the rebellion of Wano, right? So could he try again if he survived? Sure, but he would have to start all the way up from the bottom, and I don't think that as many people would like just flock to Kaido, because before, if Kaido enlists your help, or if you get captured as like a pirate crew like Sasaki, because before, like, if Kaido enlisted your help as a pirate, or if, like, you were in a pirate crew that assimilated with the Beast Pirates, like Sasaki and Who's crews did, like, you would be honored in a sense. You'd be like, oh my god, well, okay, we're working for Kaido now. And Kaido is, I mean, he's a brutal guy, but he's invincible. He's probably the one that's going to find the One Piece or become king of the pirates faster than anyone, right? That's all out the window now. That's all gone. And if the world government gets wind of this, which they will because the cipher poll was there, and they, you know, the information leaks to Morgans or whatever and spreads throughout the world, then everybody's going to know that Kaido and Big Mom were both defeated at Wano. You know, people are not going to be flocking to join Kaido anymore, right? I mean, he would still get some people no matter what. And there's people that would, like, support him regardless, you know, like King, for example. Like, no matter what happens with Kaido, if King and Kaido are still alive, they're going to be working together, right? I just feel like that's the case. So in that situation, I think Kaido is not going to be able just to stand back up, even if he's alive after this, and just like, all right, time to take over Wano again. You know, it's going to be very difficult for him to accomplish that, right? So, yeah. But, yeah, I think that was everything major I wanted to discuss today. There's still so many questions involved here. Oh, and then there's also the eruption theory. The theory that once, you know, the way Kaido and Big Mom are going to get out of this, they're going to basically be blasted either out of the volcano that's erupting in, like, by Udon, or out of Mount Fuji itself. Like, they're just going to be, you know, blasted out of the top of the volcano and just land on the ground. I think that part of them might actually be melted off. I don't think Oda's going to go all, like, Junji Ito with it, like seinen horror manga, where, like, they're standing up and like Big Mom's entire face just melts off, and you know it's just her bones and, like, you know, viscera and like flesh like hanging on, and be like, oh my god, that would be a horror show. I don't think Oda's gonna go that far with it, but it might be a situation where they get back up and like part of their body might be like silhouetted or like obscured, like you can't see it, like maybe half of Big Mom's face. It's like she's like Two-Face from Batman or whatever, and just like half of her face is like obscured, but you can see like the outline of like the flesh melting off, and like her teeth, or you can kind of see the teeth, and it's just like, okay, she's pissed, you know, like it might be something like that. And Kaido, it might be the same way. But even if they don't die from this, which I think is a possibility, like if anything could kill a Yonko, it would be magma, because it's been done before. Even if they don't die from this, they're going to have some serious wounds, even being dipped in magma for only a couple of minutes. Even as a Yonko, sure, they're really strong. Yeah, they got Haki. Yeah, Big Mom's an iron balloon, but it's magma, dude. It's freaking magma. Oh, somebody else made a question. I think I have one more question I have on here. Oh, yeah, right here. By John. I've got a question. If Big Mom is in the lava, then what happened to Hera, Prometheus, and Napoleon? So, I believe they were used to make Misery, or they were around when Misery was created, and she could not summon them because of the R room. The question remains, like, would they die if Big Mom dies? And I don't think they would, because they're sort of independent from her. They sort of exhibit a lot of her character traits because of, like, her hunger, for example, you know, like with Zeus. But I don't think that they would die if she died, because it's still her soul that's, like, she ripped from them as, like, from herself as, like, a separate thing and gave over to, you know, the homies. The homies are kind of like the Horcruxes from Harry Potter. At least that's the way I'm viewing them right now. But it might not work like that. Like, if Big Mom dies, like, the origin of her soul dies, then maybe all the fragments of the soul die as well. Or it could be like a Horcrux, where even if Voldemort's body is destroyed and physically annihilated, the Horcruxes still remain, okay? I don't know if that's how that would work. We don't really have a lot of precedence for that. We know Pandora was made with Mother Caramel's soul. We don't know what happened to Pandora, but we don't see her around anymore, so maybe Pandora died when Mother Caramel died, and then the power got passed to Big Mom. Big Mom, not really sure. Oh, and then that's another question, too. If they do end up dying, what happens to the Soul Fruit and the Ua Ua no Mi? Okay. So Oda writes a lot of funny things in SBSs. Typically, it's about Nami's boobs or Frankie's nipple lights, but he writes a lot of funny stuff in SBSs. The craziest thing in One Piece, and one of the favorite things that I love reading, is when Oda introduces something as a joke or just a funny response, but it actually turns out to be canon in the story. That's the shit I love about manga. That's what I love about this story, right? Oda revealed in an SBS that if Zoro had any devil fruit, it would be the Ua Ua no Mi, but it wouldn't be him having the Ua Ua no Mi. It would be one of his swords having the Ua Ua no Mi. That could actually happen. I think the stage is set where if Kaido dies, and I understand, I know, that is a tall order, okay? A lot of you right now are like, Matt, people don't die in One Piece, and certainly not Kaido. It's not going to happen. I understand. I'm just saying, Whitebeard got killed by magma. They're in magma. Like, you can at least connect the dots here. Like, it's possible, right? If that were to happen, and Zoro, which sword would you want to have the Ua Ua no Mi? That's the question. You would want to say the Wado, because that's like Zoro's main sword, but I don't know if Zoro would want to like introduce the dragon fruit into that sword. I don't know. I would honestly prefer the Sandai get it, because the Enma already has the whole like visage of the guardian of like hell basically with that. And then the Wado is like Kuina's sword. So I would rather the Sandai, which is a Wazamono, which is like the lowest rank of sword that Zoro has. If Zoro's not going to get the Nidai at the end of this arc from Tenguyama, if he's going to keep the Sandai, give the Sandai the Ua Ua, or maybe get the Nidai and give the Nidai the Ua Ua. That would actually work great, because the Nidai was already... I have it over here. Hold on. Yeah, the Nidai was already introduced in this arc. Okay, so that'd be really cool if the arc was introduced with Nidai. Luffy had it. Luffy ended up defeating Kaido, and now the Nidai makes an appearance at the end of the story. And we already saw in Tenguyama's house. Sorry, Enma. We already saw in Tenguyama's house. We saw the tanuki. We saw the pot that had the tanuki. So, you know, the ability to give an object a devil fruit is not something that just exists with the world government or Vegapunk, because in Wano we've already seen an object that had the tanuki zone. So that means Tenguyama has to know a trick to give a devil fruit power to an object. And so maybe that's the reason Oda introduced the tea kettle as a tanuki, to introduce that, yeah, Tenguyama knows how to do this. Maybe it's an ancient ritual of like Wano ancestors or something, how to give a devil fruit into an object. And so he's like, okay, and then he uses that process to take the Ua Ua no Mi, because it's too dangerous to leave the Ua Ua no Mi around. If Kaido does die and that dragon fruit reincarnates, they can't just have it laying around Wano. It's a very powerful fruit. It needs to be in the hands of somebody responsible. Now, Zoro's probably not the best person to have a devil fruit. I don't know if responsibility is really Zoro's strong suit, but it's the best thing that we could possibly hope for here, okay? So, Tenguyama gets the devil fruit and like, okay, I have an idea. I'm going to introduce this into the Nidai Kitetsu, and I'll give this to Zoro, and Zoro has a dragon sword. Okay, let's go with that. So, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, right? And then the Soul fruit, I don't know, like Nami could get that. Why not? Nami had the Goro Goro in the SBS, but yeah, Nami, I think it's about time Nami gets a devil fruit power. She already has Zeus, so why not just give her the freaking soul power? There we go. Yeah. Let's do that, Oda. Let's give them some power-ups. Nami is going to need a major power-up. She's going to be fighting against the Blackbeard crew, maybe Admirals. You know, we need to see Nami solo and Admiral before this story is over. Nami versus Green Bull. Let's see it. She's going to need a devil fruit for that, okay? Okay. All right. That's the video. I don't have any horse facts for you today. I'm sorry. But, yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry, Brooke, for dipping you in Jello, oil, and magma. But, yeah. But let me know on that. Let me know on, like, do you think that lava is enough of a liquid that devil fruit powers would be weakened by it? Let me know. Tekking signing out. Bye.